There it is. What is up, everybody? How's it going? How's it going? We are here on episode 10 of Mels, Shady, Just4Bad Sportscast. We are early this morning. We had the small cancellation yesterday. Um, we're here this morning, though, to keep... Butt says shave.
Save.
We are here this
Off
morning,
rip.
guys, to get you updated, to keep you guys up to date real quick before everything. There was a big week this week regarding everything and everything this week. NFL has a lot of big injuries this week as well, and some key matchups that we do want to touch you guys up on real quick. Tip off is at about 25 minutes. Shady, how's your weekend been so far, man? I want to catch up with you real quick. How's everything been,
Man,
man?
super busy, but I am glad to be here and talk some sports, man. This is what it's all about.
Love it, love it. I agree. And we are without Lamb today, guys. I'm pretty sure he's still sleeping because it's wicked early in the morning. He didn't get back to us. Shady and I were already up. This is routine for us. So we're here.
Pretty
We're going to
much.
keep you guys up to date, guys. We're not going to try to keep you guys out of the loop of everything. And we want to stay kind of mainly on the same schedule at the same time as well. But to catch up on everything here real quick. What, baby girl? To catch up on everything here real quick, guys. Thursday's game, Green Bay and San Francisco. We all predicted that right. San Francisco is completely whittled. They couldn't pretty much do anything regarding that. Devontae Adams had a field day. He had like 100, he had like 160, 170 yards to
Hmm.
do.
Yeah. Oh,
I
he
do
he
want
got
to
off.
question his touchdown, though. He did get away with the pass interference on that when he pushed off. The refs definitely missed that for sure because he straight pushed, turned, and dude had no chance to even have anything regarding that.
Yep.
So I did have a big question regarding that one. They definitely missed that. Aaron Rodgers looked good. He had 305 in that game. Pretty much what we were expecting to see. Aaron Jones did come back in this game. He had a moderate 60 yards, basically. Nothing too spectacular. But he was
Right.
out for the last couple of games as well. Going into this week, guys, like I was just talking about, injury riddled week. Cora, what baby? She wants to chat with everybody this morning, guys. Couple of key things I do want to bring up. Baker Mayfield got put on the COVID-19 list this morning, even though he doesn't have a positive test. Cleveland
Oh
does get
no.
really lucky with that, considering they're on a bye week this week. So they get
Facts.
a break with that. Don't understand why they put him on the COVID-19 list with no positive test yet. I'm not too 100% sure about that and what's going on regarding that. I haven't heard anything on that either. It's kind of questionable and in the air still. That happened about an hour or so ago. The
Yeah.
other thing,
Normally,
go
when
ahead.
they put him on a list like that, either he's probably come in contact with somebody that may have had it, or
Right.
there's a possible issue and they're just being safe. So it'll probably come out later. Hopefully, it doesn't matriculate into anything because I mean he's their best player. They
He
need him out.
is. And I hope that's not the case because that would be fairly bad for them. Fairly
Big
bad
fat.
because they already lost Odell Beckham for the year. They can't lose their signal caller. I don't even know who their backup is, actually. That's like, we haven't heard of
Melby,
anything or
Melby,
anybody's.
Melby. Even if you knew who the backup was, would you care? Like, come
I
on.
wouldn't. I
It's
honestly
like,
wouldn't. It's the
like
Cleveland Browns. It's the
exactly.
Cleveland Browns.
It's like the other week when we were talking about I forget what team it was, but that backup that had no stats. Like we
Oh,
don't
Danucci
care.
for Dallas.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't care.
They're already throwing the season. What's the matter?
Exactly.
The other key injury I do want to bring up, since he gets away with a break on this one as well, no Joe Mixon again. He's still rolled out. Not sure if he's going to miss foreseeable time or not, but for him
Yikes.
being out and rolled out back-to-back weeks, no practices or anything like that, something going to be looking forward to coming out of their bye week, coming into this week as well regarding their matchup. First matchup of the week, though, we're going to keep track of multiple things, guys. So bear with me real quick while we get everything situated as well. We're going to do our picks at the same time as we're going through and try to get through everything at the same time so we can get you guys all the football news here within about the next 15 minutes or so before the game starts so you guys can make your matchups and arrangements real quick as well. Denver and Atlanta. Big injury here is no Calvin Ridley in this game, so it's going to be all Julio Jones in this one. Um, Denver got away with one last week in a game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
It's in Atlanta, so it's going to be interesting. Matty Ice has been up and down this year. Um, this one's hard to choose, especially since there is no Calvin Ridley. Um, Denver defense really isn't looking that bad. They've always had a decent defense. I'm gonna have to pick. I'm gonna go Atlanta in this one. Julio's still gonna have a field day, I believe, and depending on what Gurley does on the ground, he is gonna be the main running back in this one too, because there is no Ito Smith. So you're gonna see a lot of Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and Todd Gurley. The three of those guys, if they can get rolling, I don't think Denver will be able to stop those guys, especially Julio Jones. So I am gonna go with Atlanta in this one.
So for me, I picked the Broncos in this one, just because Atlanta has been so inconsistent. On paper, Atlanta looks great. Like they look like they should be
Exactly.
rolling over teams easily, but that has not been the case. And I don't really know what the disconnect is because Matt Ryan isn't new, Julio Jones isn't new, Todd Gurley isn't new. Like these are veterans um, that have played miles, that have played in playoff games. But for
Gurley
some
been to the
reason,
Super
like
Bowl.
they just right,
Matt Ryan
it's
and
just
Julio been to the Super Bowl.
and they just are not clicking like they should. So I'm gonna go with the Broncos just because they are riding high off of the performance that they put out last week,
Right.
and I really don't know what I'm gonna get from Atlanta. So this is one of those that it could go either way, but I'll just go with the Broncos because they just seem to have the more team chemistry than Atlanta right now. Because I just don't know what I'm gonna get from 'em.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Next game here is Seattle at Buffalo. A couple of key mixes in this one. Pete Carroll did get an extension this week. He just got an extension, so congrats to him. He deserves it. That team's been rising no matter how many players they lose and how many players they bring in and draft picks that they get. Um, Big injuries in this one. Buffalo doesn't really have any big injuries on their offense in this one. But as far as Seattle goes, they're still without any of their main running backs. They're going back to the rookie and DJ Dallas in this one. He did have a decent week last week for Seattle. So going back to the rookie in this week, I can give them this one. I am going to go Seattle in this one. They did look good last week. I don't think Buffalo, there's no way Buffalo can stop Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf at the same time. It's not physically possible. Josh Norman's still not back. They have nobody in that secondary to stop both of those wide receivers at the same time. So I am going to pick Seattle in this one.
Same. I'm picking Seattle in this one just because they're a more organized team. And the Buffalo Bills hasn't so far this year. They haven't really done much against good teams or playoff caliber teams. Um, on top of the fact that Josh Norman is still out pretending to be hurt from a hamstring that he did not get. It's all about his pride,
It's
and I need his butt
all
to
up
get
here.
back out there, bro. Like, get out there. You keep making this worse. Like, look, bro, they said that Friday that he wasn't going to suit up against Seattle. Like, this is coming from the coach. Imagine being the coach, knowing that your player isn't physically hurt, but he keeps saying that he's
He
hurt.
had to
Like,
come up with an injury for him, basically, because they had
exactly.
nothing to state for on the last 2 weeks.
Exactly. I'm like, come on, bro. Just get out there. Stop playing. And
It's looking really bad for Josh Norman. Like, there ain't no reason to even come back the rest of the year if you're Josh Norman.
exactly. I mean, and I think that hinges because I don't really think that Josh Norman understands his presence on the team. him being a veteran, him being, on that Carolina team, even though he hasn't really done nothing lately. But when Buffalo was rolling, Josh was out there,
Yes.
and he did bring that veteran pedigree to their team. Since he's been out, you can see the difference in how the team plays. And I'm like, bro, you're not hurt, but the team does need you out there,
They need
bro.
him badly. Like, he
Like,
brings enough presence to make a difference.
so I think they'll still catch L's. Now, here's my thinking on this, bro, and I could be wrong, but if he does this, this will be the lamest move that I've ever seen a superstar do. I promise you. If this man waits to see if they make the playoffs and then all of a sudden miraculously is
I
healed,
never even thought about that.
I am gonna call him a lame-o, bro.
I
You are
never
a
even thought about that.
lame-o.
I never even thought about that.
Because let's look at their schedule isn't too crazy that they can't make the playoffs. They're
It's really
already
not.
6-2. So if they take a L, they'll
And
be six
basically,
and
all they
three.
have to do, if you're looking at the rest of their schedule here, real quick, you have Patriots and Dolphins still left, which you should win both of those games. The Patriots are pretty much giving up on the season.
Right.
49ers, they play. That should be a W considering how injury riddled they are. But
Right.
besides the matchup today and against the Cardinals and the Steelers, the two W's against the Chargers and Broncos should be there as well.
Yep.
Should be.
So I mean, if you're looking at it from this standpoint, they could at least go 10-6, 11-5. That
Right.
would get them into the playoffs. If he comes back, bro, you are a lame-o, and y'all should not allow him to suit
No,
up
I agree.
at all.
I agree.
At all. He bailed on y'all for this season.
Completely agree. I don't like the mentality of Josh Norman. I never have.
Bro. Look, he was never that bad when he was in Carolina, but when he left, he got big-headed, man.
So big-headed. I agree. Completely agree. This next game, no big injuries in this one. Besides the backup quarterback for Chicago, Mitchell Trubisky is ruled out, so it is going to be all Nick Foles in this one, no matter what. Chicago at Tennessee. It's going to be a tough game. This is an up in the air game because Tennessee's been up and down the last couple of weeks. They should have beat Pittsburgh and lost. They want to say they lost this past week at the same time too. So it's been a little bit of a downside here for the Titans, especially since they lost against the Bengals. They're going to be looking to get back on the upside and trying to stay at top of the division in that AFC South. This one's hard to pick. It really is. Because the Chicago front has enough manpower to stop Derrick Henry. Khalil Mack by himself can get to the backfield. This one's rough. I don't see Tennessee losing 3 in a row. I don't think Tennessee loses 3 in a row. They got the pressure on them to try to keep the number 1 seed in the AFC South, and I think it's going to be a very close game. But I'm picking Tennessee in this one.
Yep, I'm picking Tennessee as well. I don't. I know that the Bears do have a defense that should give Derrick Henry trouble, but they've never run up against a running back so far this season that's like a Derrick Henry.
I agree.
And so it's easy to say it on paper that they should, but that normally that doesn't transfer over to game time. And when you look at the teams that they've lost to, they lost to the Colts, they lost to the Rams, they lost to the Saints. So if you look at these teams, they don't really have a back like a Derrick Henry, and so they haven't really been challenged on that front. So this will be like their first challenge, because he's not going to shy away from throwing them to the ground.
No, not at all.
So
We've seen that plenty of times in the last couple of years.
exactly. So I'm definitely going with Tennessee. I do think that it's going to be a low scoring game. because it's going to be a lot of defense, a
I
lot
agree.
of running, not too much passing. But I do think Tennessee will find a way to pick to get it done.
I agree. This next one's interesting, chat. Carolina at Kansas City. Kansas City should pull this out. I don't see any
Easy.
reasoning not to. But the only reason I say this interesting is Christian McCaffrey is back this week. Carolina has activated him. He is back. That I don't know if that's a risk or not, considering we're halfway through the season and I don't foresee them making the playoffs. So it's questionable on how much workload he's going to get and if we're going to see the 97% Christian McCaffrey workload like we're normally used to seeing. If he does get that workload, that's why I say it's going to be interesting because Kansas City has shown suspect on defense. And there's no way they're going to be able to stop Christian McCaffrey if he's fully healthy. But I am going to pick Kansas City in this one. But the only reason I say it will be interesting is because they did activate him.
Yeah, I'm going with Kansas City as well. I think that the team is clicking, and I do think that they will be able to do pretty much whatever they want in this game. And I don't foresee Christian McCaffrey being able to pull off what Dalvin Cook did against Green Bay, and just going out there and grabbing like 4 TDs and willing the team to a W. But and especially when you look at the injuries on Carolina, you got two of their offensive linemen that
I
are
did see
out, so you don't
Oku's
really,
out. That's a big miss.
yeah. So you don't really know how that's gonna translate over, because Christian McCaffrey is that guy. Like he can get going, but he ain't never taken any reps from Teddy Bridgewater. So this is
No,
like
he
his
hasn't
first
seen
game.
anything since the first week.
Exactly. This is his first game running with Teddy Bridgewater, and I do not trust Bridgewater. I'm
I
sorry. I
don't
just
either.
don't.
We saw that last week as well.
Exactly. I just know he will find a way to lose the game. That's how I feel about it.
This next one, chat, we have Detroit at Minnesota. I don't see any big misses in this one. It's gonna be a fairly decent game. The only big miss is Kenny Galladay, but he was out last week as well. Um, can Dalvin Cook repeat and go off again? I know we probably won't see no 4 touchdowns again, but are we going to see a full workload from Dalvin Cook again to where Detroit's defense was very suspect last week and they got throttled by those running backs. So we already saw what Dalvin Cook did last week to Green Bay and what he's capable of both in the receiving and the run game. I'm picking Minnesota in this one, especially if Dalvin Cook is truly 100% and is not too sore from last week. Detroit, I don't trust Detroit. I like Matthew Stafford, but I can't fully trust them. And until they get Matthew Stafford some true help, I don't know if Detroit's going to be anything good until Stafford retires, honestly, and that's kind of upsetting to say because Stafford really is a good quarterback. I've always been a fan of Stafford. But Minnesota's winning this game. I don't see Detroit stopping Dalvin Cook in this one.
Kind of think Melby's looked over my picks. He's picking all the teams I'm picking. But no, I agree. I do think that Minnesota takes this one and that Dalvin Cook will have a big game. I mean, we didn't think that Dalvin Cook was going to play as well as he did against Green Bay coming back, and he
I
ran
didn't think he was
over.
going to get that much usage.
Yeah, and so one of the things I know Lamb said this before that Detroit is one of those defenses that each week has been getting better. But just like I said with Derrick Henry, this will be the first time that they run into a running back of Dalvin Cook's caliber, and I don't think they have the manpower to stop him from getting into the end zone.
I don't think
And
so
then
either.
on the other side of the
I mean, they
ball,
got Aaron Jones. They did see Aaron Jones.
yeah, like, but he's not Dalvin Cook. Like,
No, he isn't Dalvin Cook. He really isn't.
So, like this man literally going out there grabbing 4 touchdowns. Like he ain't seen nothing like that. Um, so and then I do like Stafford, but I don't see him and Peterson being able to put together a solid outing to where they could win this game, especially if Dalvin Cook gets hot, because now you're playing a game of possessions,
Yep.
and
And then
that
you're
means
having to
he's
have
gonna
Stafford throw more.
exactly. So you can't once you get into the game of possessions, it's a wrap. See you later because you don't have the firepower to go out there and put up 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes. Like you
And
just don't.
Dalvin Cook can control that game by himself as long as
Exactly.
Cousins gets him the ball and doesn't turn it over.
Yep, and that was proven last week against Green Bay, who we would say is definitely better than the Detroit Lions. So there's like no real reason unless he just has an off game. Unless
I
Dalvin
agree.
Cook just has an off game, then it's like okay, he gave it all last week. But I don't see. There's no reason.
No,
There's nobody
no reason.
on Detroit that I would say, oh, he gonna stop him.
I agree. Completely agree. Next game, kind of a no-show game. You got Giants and Washington. This is kind of a toss-up game, honestly. Um, this one's really interesting. Golden Tate
This
did get benched in this one because he complained about his usage, and that and the other. I don't know if he's going to end up getting traded or not, but they ended up benching him for this game. So that's a weapon that Daniel Jones doesn't have. Washington looked, again, this is against an injury riddled Dallas team, but Washington looked really good on offense last week. Um, I'm taking Washington in this one. I trust Washington in this one. And they're the healthier of the two teams in this one as well. So it's a very toss-up game, but I am going to take Washington.
so my problem with this is the whole Golden Tate thing. Because when you look at what the Giants were able to do against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like they made the Bucks work, and if they play that level of intensity again, they can easily beat a Washington football team. Like hands down, there's no reason that they wouldn't be able to beat them. So that's my thinking on it is that they'll probably end up outworking the Washington football team and getting this W. I think it'll still be close, but I do think that they'll be able to outwork them. But we'll have to see if them not having Golden Tate, if that kind of puts a wrench in their offensive. But man, they played some ball on offense and defense against Tampa, which we did not see. It's the
That's
same
true.
Tampa team that went and spanked the Raiders like they stole something. And then we're like, what is this? They're 1-7. Why are you struggling? How is this a thing?
Yep. So
So
you're
I'm
taking
I'm going
Giants?
with yeah, I'm taking the Giants. I
Okay.
do think that they'll figure out a way to win this game. I mean, it's the Washington football team. It doesn't take much.
Right. Before we get into the afternoon game, guys, we got one other game real quick that I do want to touch up on because the other morning game is kind of a no-show game, so that way you guys can make a lineup adjustment real quick if you need to. Baltimore and Indy, still no Mark Ingram. Des Bryant did get activated to the active squad, and he is on the 53-man roster. I don't know how much usage we'll see of him, this, that, and the other, or if he'll get any playing time or not, but he did get activated. He will be available to be a possible weapon for Lamar Jackson, but that'll be something come to see if that's actually going to be the case or not. Um, Two main factors in that one. No T.Y. Hilton in this one either for the Indiana Colts. Or Indianapolis Colts. I say Indiana because I
Yep,
didn't want to say the full name. Um, Kind of a toss up here.
it's tough.
Baltimore
It's
Baltimore
tough.
hasn't been showing what they were last year. Nowhere's near. We
Nope.
have, everyone's figured out Lamar Jackson now. The Colts are good on the defense. And the way the Colts played last week and utilized everybody and both of their running backs going off like that, I don't know. I understand Baltimore had the addition in the defensive line and the trade. I don't know if that's going to make a difference or not. I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick the Colts in this one. It's gonna be a very hard
Ooh.
fought game. But with
All
no
right.
Mark Ingram and Dobbins hasn't really showed a whole lot really, and he's obviously no Mark Ingram.
I'm gonna
So
give
that's gonna
you.
make Lamar Jackson either have to utilize his legs, which we've seen already this year, and it hasn't been very good. And then we've seen what he can do through the air. He's still inconsistent. He can make plays. I think he's a better Russell Wilson type of person when he's on the run and trying to throw on the run. He's not a pocket passer though.
Right.
He's too inconsistent. And if Indy plays a good enough defense to make him a pocket passer in this game, Indy's gonna win this game.
So I'm gonna give you an opportunity to revise your pick. I'm gonna give you an opportunity because with this team, with these teams, right? Baltimore and Indianapolis, they're both 5-2.
Yes.
They both have key people that are out. So um, when we look at the teams, when we look at records, when we look at how they play, we're like, okay. But then we go and look at who they played,
Right.
right? So the Ravens have played Kansas City. They've played Pittsburgh. These are top two teams. Now they did lose to Kansas City 34-20, and they lost to Pittsburgh 28-24, a game in which most people thought they should have won that game
Yes.
and been their first L. But the Colts have only played the lesser teams. They played Detroit, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Chicago, and the Jets. Like they haven't
They
played
haven't played nobody.
teams, right? They haven't played anybody that make you go, yeah, yeah. If they get smacked in the mouth, they're just gonna come back. And so for me, I gotta go with the team that has been challenged the most. So I'm picking the Ravens, but my pick is solely based off of who they actually played because coming off of that loss with Pittsburgh and them playing like you're coming off playing Pittsburgh, Indy's coming off beating the Detroit Lions. Like, bro, it's apple and oranges right now. Like
That's
that,
very true. I can't give you that. The main factor that I am looking at this one though is that they do have Darius Leonard back. The Colts looked really good last week without Darius Leonard, who's their main guy on defense. He's in on every single play.
gotcha.
Um, so he is back in this game. He was out last week. So that is a main factor for that defense. And with him being back, that's why I'm also stating I'm thinking Indy wins this game. And it is in Indianapolis at the same time, too. I'm not sure if there's any fans there or not. I hadn't been keeping up on the Indy basis regarding that. Um, but I am rolling with the Indy team in this one still.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I mean, I will let you have your pick. That's my only thing is it's gonna be interesting to see. It's definitely gonna be interesting to see.
It
All right.
is.
It looks like the games have began.
Right,
So
and that's why I skipped
let's
over that other no-show game at Houston and Jacksonville, because that was the
yeah,
last
let's
morning game, and with
now
Minshew being out in that one,
we got one more.
which other one did we miss?
Texans and Jaguars.
Yeah, that's the one that I was just saying, Texans Jaguars.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
That's the reason why I put that one on the back burner a little bit. With Minshew being out in this one, I don't think Jacksonville has a chance in this one. Houston has been looking decent. I am going to give Houston in this one, especially with Minshew being out. But that is the main reason why I did save that game for last. Even though it's a divisional game, with Minshew
Yeah.
being out, I don't think Jacksonville's going to have a chance in this one.
I just don't trust Jacksonville, period. So
I
I'll
don't
pick
either.
Houston. It's just what it is.
Cora, please go lay down. Thank you. She's been so mouthy this morning, chat. I'm sorry. She's still being.
Yo, you want to hear something hilarious?
I do.
All right.
Cora.
So I knew that during the course of us having this conversation, because the games were actually going, that this was a potential that this could happen. So just as we say, I don't see a chance for Jacksonville. Guess who scored first?
Jacksonville ran down the field right off the bat and scored.
Yes.
No way.
Passing touchdown, 73 yards.
Wow. Cora, stop. Please go right down.
Oh man.
Off the first play, basically the second play of the game.
Right. Oh my gosh. I knew it was gonna be
Luton?
somebody.
Who was this Luton guy?
I have no
I don't know
idea.
who this Luton dude is.
I have no idea. But Lamb would say all Texans teams suck and are tanking the season. You shouldn't be surprised. Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
That. I don't even know what to say to that, guys.
Yeah, there's nothing. We could just move on and act like that didn't happen.
And speaking of first scores of the games, guys, Bills went straight down the field and scored on the Seahawks already as well.
Oh
Josh
my
Allen, 3
gosh.
for 3, 45 yards and a touchdown. 3 straight passes down the field, done. So 2 teams right off the bat within the first minute and a half, guys, went down the field, no issue, and scored a touchdown. And in both of those games, we didn't pick the right guys.
Right. Now the game is not over.
It's not over. It literally just started.
It's not looking good.
It's not looking good to start off with, though. Not in the first minute and a half.
Oh man,
That's funny. That's hilarious.
That is.
So with the morning games on cap, guys, there is some good afternoon games. First afternoon game that we do have, we have the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Key matchups in this one, guys. Josh Jacobs is a go, even though he was questionable this week with his knee injury. Keenan Allen is also a go as well. The biggest no-go in this one is going to be Joey Bosa on that defensive line for the Chargers. With him being out, they're definitely not. If Josh Jacobs is even 80%, there's no way without Joey Bosa bringing enough pressure on that defensive line. I don't foresee the Chargers stopping Josh Jacobs on top of Darren Waller at the same time. That 1-2 punch is too good. And the Raiders have been playing good this year, guys. Even though they do have a couple of losses, the Raiders have been playing really good. They've played top-notch teams this year, too. Yep. First game of the year, they had a tough matchup against the Panthers and a healthy Panthers team, besides Christian McCaffrey getting hurt. They beat the Saints. They lost. I don't know how they lost to the Patriots. They should have won that game. They ended up losing to the Bills, which they shouldn't have lost either, in my opinion. They beat the Chiefs, got completely obliterated by the Bucs, and then played a tight matchup last week against the Browns. This team's 4-3. They technically, in my opinion, should be 6-1. They should only have that one loss against the Buccaneers, in my opinion. They definitely should have won those other 2 games. Patriots had no business of winning that game. In this matchup, though, like I was saying, with Joey Bosa being out in this one, not enough pressure. Picking the Raiders in this one, even though it is in LA. It's not in the Raiders' hometown. It is in LA. But I am picking the Raiders in this one. I'm picking the healthier team. And the Raiders been looking good on defense for how young they are as well.
Yep, I'm definitely going with the Raiders in this one. I mean, the Chargers really haven't shown me anything that would make me say otherwise.
Herbert's been the only consistent factor of that team so far, in my opinion.
Yep. So they really haven't shown me anything spectacular. So I'm definitely going with the Raiders. I mean, they've fought each week, and it's been an ongoing battle. So definitely going with the Raiders.
I agree. I agree. This second game is gonna be an obliteration. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Pittsburgh is gonna walk all over Dallas. Ezekiel Elliott is questionable in this one. He had a hamstring injury throughout the week. They said he had a good practice yesterday, so he should be in form to possibly play today. They said he has a chance. With the record the way it is right now, are you really gonna risk your healthiest player, even if he's injured or not? Are you gonna take your best and healthiest player and risk that in a no point season, basically? Like,
Right.
what's the point? Why even put him out on the field?
This is true.
Pittsburgh walks away with this game. I'm gonna say this like I said Kansas City last week. If
Hmm.
Pittsburgh doesn't put up 50 points on Dallas, there's something wrong.
Exactly. You can already tell that they're tanking the season. They're not taking it serious. There's no reason for y'all to even be in a competitive match. They're not trying,
And that also
and they're
means
all.
Pittsburgh's going to remain still the last unbeaten team.
This is true.
Go ahead again, Hyatt. It's my bad.
No, no, no. You're good. That I was just gonna say. Yeah, there's no reason for them to even. I mean, aside from them showing up, that's about it. That's about it. Just
I
don't
think they
not
have a
show
hard
up.
time doing
But
that at this point.
geez, yeah, nobody's expecting anything.
This next one might be game of the week, guys. It might honestly be game of the week, and the only reason I say that is because in tonight's game, there's a lot of questionable factors in this one. A lot of questionable factors. So this next game, Miami and Arizona, may be game of the week, guys. Miami's been looking really good.
Hey, Melby.
We didn't see obviously a lot from Tua last week, and Tua didn't look all that great in the opportunities that he did get. The Miami
Melby.
defense carried his ass.
Melby.
Yes,
3 carries, 23 yards, and a touchdown. Dalvin Cook.
that was fast, chat. So, like we were stating, guys, who's gonna stop Dalvin Cook in this game?
Oh my
Dalvin Cook has
gosh.
already started off where he
Oh my
left
gosh.
off in Green
Listen,
Bay with 4 touchdowns.
I'm sorry. I like doing this during the time the games are playing. This is hilarious.
This is fun. This is fun. Oh, we may have a possibility of
Look,
maybe having
listen,
a change, guys. That'd be
look,
pretty
listen.
dope. If we can make all
What?
of our things there like right
There-
before the game start, and then be commentating during the other part, that'd be pretty dope.
It would be. Listen, Washington done fumbled, gave it back to the Giants in their own territory. Like, bro, you can't write this stuff. Texans done marched back down and scored again. Like,
I see that. Like they're not even a minute and a half into this game
right?
chat,
Like the
and it's
game just
seven to
started.
seven already. Deshaun Watson threw a
Oh my
bomb for
gosh.
57 yards to Brandon Cooks. I have Brandon Cooks on my team, by the way. I started him this week.
Oh my
So that's
goodness.
1, 5, almost 6 plus another. He's got 12 points already in my fantasy already.
I'm sorry. I just seen that and that was just hilarious to me.
Falcons up with the early score as well. They're up 3-0 on Denver. Ended up getting the field goal. Matt Ryan looked good on the first drive, 5 for 6, so not too bad.
Yep.
Not
But
bad.
Denver's marching.
Denver is marching. They're in Atlanta territory already, and Giants haven't been able to do anything with the football yet. Panthers are
Yeah,
marching down the field on Kansas City guys.
exactly.
McCaffrey got 4 carries for 20 yards
Exactly.
already, looking like he hasn't missed a beat.
Yep. And then
Back to the possible game of the week.
yes.
We didn't see much from Tua. He didn't really need to do much because of how well that defense played. They played
Right.
very conservative with him, which made plenty of sense. But they got a real tough matchup this week. Arizona's been trending up on that defensive side. And even though they're still going to be without Kenyon Drake in this game for the second week in a row, um, Arizona's been trending up like very fast. Um, Murray's been finally utilizing all three of his wide receivers and not be looking at DeAndre Hopkins the entire time. Larry Fitzgerald's been averaging 3 to 6 receptions a game, and Christian Kirk's been getting in the mix as well. So it's good to see that relief of pressure come off of DeAndre Hopkins, and that also opens up the field now that Murray isn't only targeting him. Murray's been able to use his wheels a lot more at the same time as well, which we saw last week. He had a rushing score. He did a beautiful run by him on that purpose, actually. Miami defense is currently ranked the #1 defense in the NFL, guys. They're not even allowing 19 points a game right now. But with all the firepower that Arizona has on that offense, even with Kenyon Drake being out, can they stop all three wideouts? They're all capable of spectacular catches. They can all go on the go route. Shush. And they're all great route running wide receivers. All three of them.
I'm gonna say no.
I don't think they can stop all three of them. And then when you got to worry about the three of them running their routes, and then Kyler Murray being able to utilize his wheels, that's a lot to look out for.
Yep. Agreed.
I agree with hiatus. Um, I'm gonna pick Arizona in this one. Like I said, possible game of the week. We're gonna see a true Tua this week because he's gonna be forced to throw the ball in this one, and their defense isn't gonna play as good as they did last week. Kyler Murray's smarter. So, with that saying, I am picking Arizona.
Um,
It's gonna be a toss out game. If Miami can play on point like they did last week, it'll be a fairly good game. But I don't foresee them stopping all three weapons.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm going with Arizona as well. I just I don't foresee Denver being able to do what they did to the Rams to the Cardinals coming up, and like basically being able to not only beat them on defense but also turn that defense into scoring, to be able to get the dub over the Cardinals. So I think the Cardinals will be able to figure it out and get that dub.
I agree. And last game, the reason why I say the Miami Arizona game may be game of the week is there's a lot of key factors in this New Orleans Tampa Bay game tonight. We still don't know. Michael Thomas is planning to play as long as he doesn't have any setbacks in warm ups. But with him being out for it's been what 6 weeks now. It, are we going to see an actual healthy Michael Thomas to where he dominated the league last year and nobody can stop him? He also gets Emmanuel Sanders back this week as well, so that does bring a little bit of pressure off of Michael Thomas coming back at the same time. But on the opposite side of the ball, you got AB coming back for his first game in the NFL since leaving the Patriots last year and slash the Raiders. And with all this scandalation and everything regarding everything, having the 8 game suspension, he's finally back in the NFL and coming back this week. And they also get Chris Godwin back this week at the same time, too. So Brady has, for the first time this year, everybody on the field. A
Yeah,
Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski. Like, how many more weapons do you need?
exactly.
How
It's
many
kind of
more
overpowering.
weapons? Who do you stop? Who do you try to guard? Who? If you go in man coverage and try to guard every single one of those wide receivers, both of those running backs are going to gash you down the field all game long.
This is true.
All game long.
This is true.
There,
It doesn't lend you to, because a lot of teams, when it comes to like AB, they'll be able to double up on them. You can't double the wide receivers because they
it's
have too many premium
impossible.
wide receivers.
You've
So
got
now you got to go
five
to
wide
man
receivers on the
coverage.
field that you're trying to cover.
Exactly. So you got to either go to man or zone, and they can beat you on zone. They can beat you on man. So I'm gonna say that the Bucks have a field day, and this ends up turning into another Bucks versus Raiders like come out game where Tom Brady just gets off because it doesn't matter who you throw it to. You got so many options. Somebody is always going to be open.
Always going to be open. And with having just those four wide receivers, you can run a four wide receiver set with one tight end and one running back all game long.
Pretty much.
Meaning you got Godwin, Evans, AB, Rob Gronkowski, and then Ronald Jones or Leonard Fournette in the backfield. Like, if you're trying to stop just those three wide receivers alone, let alone not even mixing the fourth wide receiver in, Rob Gronkowski's going to have a field day today.
Yep, and I think that this is also going to get Fournette open. Like he'll have way more yards than he's had before because you can't disrespect the wide receivers, which means that you can't play down for the back, which is going to open it up, and then vice versa. Once he gets going, now play action is a factor. Like it gives them so much versatility on the offensive side of things, and the Bucks defense hasn't been trash. Like their defense has been good. So I think that they'll have enough to kind of contain. They won't be able to stop Drew Brees because nobody can stop Drew Brees. But
No,
they'll be
Drew
able
Brees is going
to
to be able to do his.
exactly. They'll be able to contain him enough to give them the opportunity to get the ball back and have more possessions than the Saints have.
I agree. And the other thing I do want to bring up into this too is I don't even think AB is going to be a factor in this one. Honestly, he pretty much going to be a decoy.
Pretty much, and you have the
He's not going
luxury
to
of
do
doing
much.
that.
Yeah, they won't need him to. Honestly, he basically just needs to step on the field and that's it.
Yep, agreed.
So I believe we're both in the same statement. We're picking Tampa Bay in this one.
Right.
One thing I do want to highlight here, real quick, guys. Injury report just popped up. Noah Fant, tight end for the Broncos, just limped off the field. Questionable return. Not looking good for the Broncos. That is Drew Lock's number one wide receiver, especially with Cortland Sutton being done for the season. So if Noah Fant can't come back, um, that's another injury down for the Broncos that they don't need. That looks even better for the
Exactly.
Atlanta Falcons in this game.
Yep. I have to take the L in
Texans
that
went
one.
down the field and got a field goal again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. We're
It's
not
been a
even
lot of
5 minutes into this game, guys, and it's 10-7 already.
yep.
No
And
defense.
the Panthers decided they want to play this week, so they're up 7-0. The Colts got their touchdown, so they're
Christian
up
McCaffrey
7-0.
doing work already, guys. Literally hasn't missed a beat. 4
Mm-mm.
carries, 20 yards, 2 receptions, 16, and a score. Hasn't
And
missed a beat.
the battle right now is between the Bears and the Titans. They keep going back and forth.
I see that.
Uh,
Nobody can move the ball in that one so far.
but the Bills right now are manhandling Seattle.
They're about to score another touchdown here, actually. 1st and 1 on the Seattle goal line, basically, by
There it is.
penalty, and touchdown
Yep.
14-0 already. Bills over
Yeah.
Seattle, guys.
Yeah.
Messy.
Yeah. It's gonna be one of those weeks.
Messy. Is this by turnovers by chance, or is this complete punts?
Man, this is them beating them
Literally
down.
punts? Of course.
Yeah, this is just them beating them down.
It is beating them down, guys. Seattle's had one possession, they punted. That's it. Bills are
Yep.
literally just manhandling them on offense. That's
Yep.
crazy. This next game, guys, I brought this up with hiatus, and I have no faith in my New England Patriots. Sam Darnold's out for this game, so that means Joe Flacco is going to be the starter. Cam Newton, I have no faith in whatsoever right now. I don't understand how he has a starting job for the rest of the season, has been named starter for the rest of the season. Hiatus made a point that
All about that money.
it's about the money and we got to play him, even though we didn't pay him that. I think we paid him $2 million to play this year.
Hmm. Well, it's not so much the money that you guys paid; it's more so the money for the fans to tune in to watch you guys because he
That
is a
too.
marquee player. So that's pretty much the reason why you don't take him out and put somebody in that no, the fans don't know whether or not he does good or not. That's not going to bring the ticket sales in or people coming in. They want to see Cam Newton
Facts.
struggle or otherwise. But in the off season, definitely be looking because there's going to be some furniture moving in New England.
We're gonna be a whole different team, guys. Imagine us this year with our biggest name highlight players being Stephon Gilmore and Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Next year we have over $100 million in cap space, one of the most of any teams in the league. We don't have a first round draft pick, but imagine what kind of trades and what kind of moves that we can pull off. That's a lot of money in the offseason. And that's another reason why Brady left, is because we had no money and we weren't bringing anybody else new in. We couldn't afford to. Why do you think we saw Belichick trading away our draft picks every single year for the last 4 years and not getting any highlight players? We're getting these no-name players coming in to fill in spots, this, that, and the other, and building enough of a team to complete a championship team. Like, we haven't
Hmm.
done any highlight marquee moves in anything since we signed Stephon Gilmore a few years ago. Complete zero, and it's sad. Completely sad. No Sam Darnold in this one though. Joe Flacco is playing. I don't remember the last time we lost 4 in a row, guys.
True. 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 True.
I do.
I and
I don't. We've never lost 4 in a row. I don't think in the Bill Belichick era. I don't think we have.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, this is a game that even if the replacement players were playing for New England, they should not lose to the Jets. Like the Jets are 0-8. They have no intentions on winning. So like this should be an easy walk-off game for New England to just get
No,
an easy dub.
no.
But we'll have to see because Cam has proven that he knows how to lose a game. So
We
like
have looked so ugly this year.
you can't even say that it's a walk-off game because
We
who
honestly
knows?
shouldn't have won a game yet this year. Zero. Like, very low scoring game against the Dolphins. Dolphins only had 11 points in that game, and they have looked great ever since. And then, as I stated earlier, we had no business winning that Raiders game. Zero. And the trade for Isaiah Ford this past week, yeah, we bring in somebody who somehow now is our leading wide receiver and he hasn't played a single down. That's he didn't have a lot of usage in Miami. And for him to come into New England and be our number one wide receiver now, yards wise, it's sad. Stop, Cora. Please go lay down. She is all about the attention today, chat. But I'm having a hard time picking this one. Like, it's the Jets. Like, they haven't won a single game this year.
Mm-hmm.
But we have been garbage on both sides of the ball. It's so hard to pick. How this game is even a primetime game is beyond me. I don't understand how this game is a primetime game. How the Jets got into a mix for a primetime game is beyond me, guys.
Exactly. Somebody paid
Who
somebody
put
that
this
paid
schedule
somebody.
together? Who paid the schedule makers from New York to be like, please give us a primetime game this year. Like, we'll
Mm-hmm.
give you $5 million because of coronavirus.
Right? We got you. This is your stimulus package.
It's sad, guys. It's sad. I'm a New England fan. You guys know this. I have a hard time going against my Patriots. It's the Jets. We get back on track this week, but we're immediately gonna lose again next week. Immediately gonna lose again next week, and possibly the next 2 weeks after that. Looking at their schedule,
It's
our
gonna be
schedule's
tough.
bad this year, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We looking at our schedule, Jets should be a win. Ravens loss. Texans up in the air, possible loss.
Right.
Cardinals loss. Chargers, if they get Joey Bosa back, loss. Rams loss. Bills, another loss. And then we finish out the season against the Jets. If we pull out a couple of lucky victories, guys, we'll be lucky if we finish with 6 wins by the end of the season. I'm predicting us with 4. 4. That's how bad our schedule is, and that's how bad we've been playing. It's not looking good. And we don't even have a first-round draft pick to even be tanking for.
Right. This is true. This is
We
true.
don't even have a first-round draft pick to be tanking for, guys. It's bad. But I am going to take New England in this one. You just can't not take New England against the New York Jets.
This is true. So this just in. I did get some of Lamb's picks. So
I
Lamb
see
picked
that. Yep.
he picked the Texans, he picked the Chiefs, he picked the Titans,
Core.
Cardinals, Bucks, Falcons, Ravens, Patriots, which is what we were just talking about. I'm picking the Patriots as well. Vikings, Seahawks, Steelers, and Raiders.
Okay, so going down the list. Holy, this is gonna be hard to do real quick. I'll do this after we're done.
Yeah.
I won't add it in. But
Yeah.
those are interesting picks. Just to go side by side with ours real quick to just make difference makers between ours. As far as Raiders go, we all pick Raiders. We all pick Steelers. We all pick Seahawks. Vikings game was all the same. Patriots game was all the same. Baltimore game was indecisive. I'm the only one that picked Indianapolis in that game. Bucks and Falcons. We all picked Bucks in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Shady's the only one that picks Broncos in the Broncos and Atlanta game. So that's another decisive game there. Titans game. We have... Where is the Titans at? We all picked Tennessee in that game. Cardinals game, we all pick Arizona. Texans game, all Texans. And Chiefs is all Chiefs as well. So only a couple of indecisive games between all of us again this week, guys. So it looks like we're all pretty much in the same boat.
Yeah, we all
Um,
about to take that L for Seattle right now. That's what it's looking
Man, I think we're
like.
all about to take that L for Seattle. I mean, Seattle is about to score. They are about to score. It's third and one to see if they can convert and get a touchdown. If not, they're at least going to put points on the board. Um, Vikings are throttling Detroit right now, 13-0 already. They missed the extra point. That's why it's only 13-0 in that one. And Houston got the ball back again already, guys. So they're very deep in their territory, but they do have the ball back again. So
Nice.
fairly interesting. No other key notes that I can see for NFL as far as anything goes as of right now. But there's a lot of NBA news, guys. Lots of NBA news to get in. They finalized a decision. They are starting up the NBA for the 22nd of December, which means that is the shortest off season, number one in NBA history. I want to say the
Mhm.
previous was 127 games. So I want to say this one was only 70, sorry, 127 days, not games. And then this one was only 74 days. So 50 some days difference between the shortest season, and this is the shortest season in all four major sports in history at the same time, too. A lot of players are really upset about it. LeBron's stated that he's going to get his ring and then pretty much sit out until he's ready to play. There's a lot of other players that are on the bandwagon regarding that as well. In my opinion, that doesn't suit well for me. Um, One, you're getting paid all this money for one, entertainment. Two, people are watching you and expecting you to be on the court. Three, that is your job. And then four, you guys just had a good almost 4 months off in the middle of the season
Mhm.
unexpectedly and already had a shortened season to begin with.
Yep.
So for you guys to be upset to be starting before Christmas, this, that, and the other, and have a very short off season, I understand it from a perspective. But when you guys just had all this time off, literally 120 days almost, that they didn't play, that alone was almost their shortest off season in NBA history by minus 7 days. So they have no room to complain here already because between the almost 4 month layoff that they had between coronavirus and now the 70 some days that they're going to have off between the off season and the beginning of the new season, they almost have 200 days off already. It's not like it's going to kill them. And then on top of that, in the middle of the season, they're going to get another 2 weeks off in the middle of the season because there's not going to be an All Star break. They're not going to have All Star weekend. Instead, they're going to give them a 2 week off period instead and put that in place for the All Star this year. So for them to be even making any room regarding this really doesn't sit well with me. And it's going to hurt the league a lot. It's not looking good, and if players are looking to sit out for not even like a couple of games, but we're talking multiple weeks and even possible month, um, the league needs to step in and do something regarding that because that's not okay with me. That means you're missing if you're playing even on an NBA average of 13 to 15 games in a calendar month. That means you're only going to be playing, you're already playing already on a time load management for the season, anyways. So, with you already missing those 15 games, plus being on time load management, you're looking to miss 20 games out of the 72 game season. So, you're telling me you're only going to play 2/3 of your NBA season and try to make an NBA championship and be a part of your team? It doesn't sit well with me at all. And something needs to be done about it because that's not okay for me. And I definitely want to get your take on it. especially with LeBron being on the Lakers and them just winning the championship at the same time too.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is something that they've kind of always done. The only reason that it's more in your face now is because, like you mentioned before, them having a break in the season, them not really playing 82 games, them going to a bubble, and then having 8-game play in, and then the playoffs. So I get that aspect of it. The problem that I have with the whole sitting out thing is it depends on how they're going to do this. How are you going to run the season? Because COVID is still a thing.
Yes.
It hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't evaporated, hasn't disappeared. It's still a thing, right? So how do you regulate that with all of your teams traveling here and there? And I think that's kind of the bigger issue because it was stated that what they were going to try to do is go. When a team goes to, let's say, Texas, they'll play all their games in Texas and then go to the next city. Well, that's going to throw it off, and that's going to give kind of disadvantages because you're taking the home field advantage kind of out of basketball now. So normally you would play home games and then, that was that. Now you're going to be playing, like, if I go to Texas, if I play them, 4 times, I'm going to play them twice back to back. And then
Right.
I'm never going to Texas again. And then, like, it's going to be a weird season. So it already feels kind of weird in itself of how they're going to structure this. So when you add into the fact of people saying that they're going to sit out, that's not helping because you're not in a bubble situation. And so if you sit out, if you don't go, if you don't travel with the team, you're still at risk of catching COVID when you go back to the
Going to be
team,
a
and now
lot
the
more
team is at
traveling
risk.
around than what they just
Exactly.
had.
Or let's say in the case that you decided to sit out, you stayed home and the team traveled and someone got sick. Now you can't go back with the team because like it's a weird situation that we sit in. And I understand why they're trying to rush it back for the financial side of things, but I would love to know how they're going to get this done.
I agree. And it's going to turn ugly here. We literally have the NBA draft here in 10 days. So you have all these rookies about ready to come into the NBA at the same time too, with already a depleted market with salary caps, revenue, this, that, and the other. So teams are already looking to move around in the draft to do this, that, and the other, including my Celtics, which I'm about to get into here actually, because free agency talk is right after this. But it's not looking good for the NBA. And then on top of that, free agency is supposed to start in the beginning of December slash very late November. So if that at the same time kicks off, well, what kind of mentality are players even going to have going from another team to another team on top of what else is already all going on in the NBA with a lot of upset players with the passing of this with them starting on December 22nd.
Exactly.
Speak
So that's
oh
why
good.
I said it's gonna be really interesting to see how they get this to work because you know contrary to the bad information that was given, the whole reason that the NBA lost money, it wasn't because of them backing the whole Black Lives Matter and all that type stuff. It had nothing to do.
That was
COVID was
all
the
on old
reason.
players' wills and this, that, and the other and
Exactly.
promoting it.
COVID was the issue that they lost money
Yep.
because COVID meant fans can't come to the arena. There's no money for parking. There's no money for food. There's no money for the seats. Season pass holders have to be reimbursed, or that has to be worked out because
Literally, the
they're
only money that was coming in was jersey
exactly,
sales. That's
exactly.
it.
So that's why the market
Merchandise.
for them is down, and it's not just NBA. It's NFL. It's MLB. Like everybody, where you have to have an arena setting. So even with them coming back, I don't know how you salvage it because like the NFL right now has limited the amount of people that can come, but it
Yep.
still did not prevent COVID from still getting to, whether it was people in the head office or what. Like it didn't stop them from getting COVID. So it's like, how do you get around that, man? Without setting up another bubble situation, and that's where the conversations get a little interesting, because there's no way that you're going to get teams to sign off to be in a bubble situation for a season.
No.
Like, that's
They
not
stated
happening.
that they were going to do it for the first couple of months at the end of last season, rolling into the season if everything got progressed. And then they were looking into moving fans into the stadiums and this, that, and the other. But we haven't gotten a full confirmation with them passing that they're officially going to start on December 22nd on how everything is even going to play off regarding that. Are they going to go immediately back to the bubble and how they were and play like that for the first, say, 30 games of the season, make sure there's no positive tests, this, that, and the other, and then start flowing people into the stands? Or are they going to have them play the whole season under a bubble situation? Because we already saw how stressed and how much the players didn't want to be there during those few months that they were there inside the bubble already. So how is
Yep.
that going to play off at the same time? And then regarding what Hiatus was just talking about, regarding all of the money situation, regarding revenue, this, that, and the other, that was another point on why they didn't want the NBA season to start in the January season, was because if they ended up starting that late within the season, they were going to end up being so far back that they were going to lose anywhere between 500 million to $1 billion worth of revenue within the league. And that's another thing the players have to look into, because that influences their contracts for the next couple of seasons at the same time too, because that's money that's boosting the league back up to let them get more money within their contracts, with everything declining in the last, say so, about 10 months or so now, with everything that's been going on. So I don't think that's another thing the players are looking to take into effect at the same time too, that with them starting early and not losing all that revenue, and if everything does get to a somewhat, not even a regular basis, say if you fill the stands by 50%, that's marketing and revenue that you didn't have for the last 8 months of the season, basically coming into your teams, this, that, and the other, to help provide that market and the salary caps for the next coming seasons.
Agreed.
So there's a lot of different terms and a lot of different areas that all of this is affecting right now. And right now, the only thing that, in my opinion, the players are looking at is that they're upset that they're starting the season so early. They're not taking everything else into account and into factors at the same time either.
Agreed. But I mean, as it comes out more, we'll see. I mean, what they actually decide to do. Um, and I mean, this has always been a thing with the NBA. We've had short seasons before when they were locked out,
Yep.
and all that stuff. So I mean, it's nothing new. But this time, the reason that they'll get more people moving on it is because the players now share that 50-50 with the owners.
Yes.
So this actually does directly affect their pockets. So they're
And
not going
that's
to be
why I
so
wanted
quick
to
to
bring
switch
that up
off.
with the revenue that they were losing in this, that, and the other, because they're not even taking that into effect for the next couple of seasons. They've already lost a buttload of money, and we've seen players getting almost. We saw Steph Curry get a $300+ million contract. With
Mm-hmm.
Giannis being currently, you could say almost, besides LeBron being the biggest name in the NBA, with him being available for a max contract, Steph Curry got, I want to say, what was it, 305 million off of his contract.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Giannis is looking at $80 million less than that this year, and Curry just got that contract, what, 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere's within that range. So that's how much the market's already depleted already, guys, on top of everything that's gone on within the last 8 months. So with Giannis only being able to look at signing that much within the off season at the same time, that's playing a lot of different roles within free agency. A lot of people are saying that he is going to sign that $220 to $250 max contract with the Bucks and re-sign with them. But there's also speculation that they're going to be in the mix for Victor Oladipo at the same time too. I don't know how true that is because just this morning when I was at breakfast, we came out with a statement saying Gordon Hayward said a couple days ago he wants out of Boston. He doesn't want to be there anymore, which I don't like. I'm a big fan of Gordon Hayward. It was unfortunate with everything what happened with him the last couple of years with all the injuries, him breaking his ankle, and then having issues again with that ankle slash knee, everything going on in the playoffs again this year. The Pacers are actually interested in Gordon Hayward. And Boston stated that we are interested in getting rid of all three of our first round draft picks because of how well we drafted last year and how deep we already are.
Mm-hmm.
There was a speculation this morning that we are going after both Miles Turner at center and Victor Oladipo with the trade of Gordon Hayward and draft picks. Mind you, that's anywhere between 1 to 3 first round draft picks in this year's draft. We already know Indiana needs that because of everything that's been going on there. Victor Oladipo hasn't been healthy. He doesn't even want to play in Indiana no more. Um, Malcolm Brogdon's there now. He just signed a contract there. So it's very up and down right now for Indiana, and they're trying to open up pieces at the same time, and I think they're going to be in a rebuilding phase. And I think that's what's going to make more sense with them in the Boston trade and what I was reading this morning. And that would make plenty of sense for us, too, because we're lacking, as of right now, a dominant center on the defensive end. Miles Turner is by no means a strong center on the offensive end. He can have his games, but he is a dominant rebounding, blocking center as long as he can stay healthy, which is what we need. We can still utilize Daniel Tice on the offense, and if Canner stays, we can still use Ennis Canner on the offense too, because that was proven in the postseason. Nobody was stopping Ennis Canner. His limitation was on defense, and if we get that defensive-minded player that we've been looking for, and Alcor, that's my finger. We're over here trying to play with her bone at the same time too, and she's over here grabbing my finger at the same time. But if we get that defensive minded center that we've been looking for, yeah, Robert Williams could be that piece, but he's already been there for a few years now, and he hasn't stepped up into the role that we've needed him to step up into. And I think that's another reason why this trade is going to make sense at the same time too.
Nice.
What do you think
Yeah,
about it?
I mean, the team at the end of the day, they got to do what's best for them. I don't know if Victor Oladipo would be what would be best for them, but uh, the team itself has really centered itself around the young players. Core has worked out for Boston pretty well. So even with Gordon Hayward not being on the team, it wouldn't damage them that much
And that's why,
because
with us being so deep at that position already, between
yeah,
Tatum, Hayward, um, and the couple of Grant Williams was down there and showed a lot of great plays during the postseason. Actually, during that, he's a young rookie. Ended up winning Rookie of the Year for the G League, so we already know he's going to be up into the active roster this year regarding that. The main reason I also bring up Oladipo and making that such a good trade factor too is that would also move Marcus Smart back to the bench and make him that sixth man again, where he really thrives at and really plays well best at the same time too. which is what we need because he is the energizer bunny for our bench. And when that second unit comes in, they thrive off of him.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. I think, like I said, we're going to see a lot of moves that we're not expecting in the
A
NBA
lot of
come
moves.
this off season. Um, so I would tell everybody just to buckle up. It's going to be a lot of moving that you would not expect. But at the same time, we also have to see who's going to decide to play versus who's going to opt out. It's kind of like how New England was this year, where you
Yep.
had a lot of players opt out because they just didn't want to risk catching COVID. So we have to see how that's going to play, and that's why I said it's very it behooves the front office to have a plan in place and let them know what that plan is, because you're going to have a lot of players that are going to be like, I just don't feel safe.
And that decision's got to come really soon if they are going to make that decision, because like we were just stating before, we were talking trade speculations, this, that, and the other. Which there is a couple more here I do want to hit up two at the same time. Is that with that going on, the NBA draft is again in 10 days, and they're bringing all these other players into the league, coming in from the colleges and coming into the draft. So those players also got to have the mindset too on whether or not they want to opt out as well.
This is true. This
Um,
is
there's 4 teams actually interested in Victor Oladipo. The Knicks are interested in him as well, and the Brooklyn Nets are also interested in him at the same time. So there's 4 teams currently on the market for Victor Oladipo. Chris Paul is looking like he's staying in OKC. No transactions or anything like that have been made for Chris Paul, and no talks have even been made regarding that either. Um, looking like Ben Simmons is. I don't know if he's. They're trying to compare if Giannis is going to get the same contract as Simmons did or not. And I don't know if that's a good comparison or not because, like we were just talking about with how the market's been going and everything at the same time. Um, I don't know if it's fair of them to compare that. I really don't.
gotcha.
I really don't. I was just reading through that here and I'm like, I don't know if I like that comparison. I don't. The only other speculation that's been a high speculation is Giannis still going to Dallas and pairing up with Luka Doncic. And they said if that happens, the entire league better be on notice because that duo is pretty much going to be like a LeBron AD duo. They're going to be unstoppable. You won't if Porzingis stays there at the same time too. There ain't no way you can guard those 3 guys. How do you stop a Luka Doncic that can make it from half court? He's technically a forward that acts like a guard who can do anything and anything with the basketball and get to the hole at the same time and create his own shot. And then you got Giannis who can Euro step anybody in the league and take a dunk from the free throw line, basically. And then you got Porzingis, who's a 7-foot freak who can shoot the 3 ball from 35 feet. How do you stop that? Like, if you put all those pieces together, how do you stop that? And that would
Wow.
be honestly the new big three.
It would. It would. But it depends on, again, on paper it looks great. but can we work it in? Because right now with what you have with Luca and the unicorn,
Right.
Porzingis, it works really well for them. Like they should have actually gone a lot farther in the playoffs than what they did, because them two they play really well together. So it would be interesting to see how that integration would work. But yeah, I mean, if it works and the pieces fit, that would be absolutely bananas.
Other
But that
speculation for the Dallas Mavericks too is Gobert's available for a supermax this year, and they're talking about Gobert being the centerpiece over in Dallas possibly.
Yeah, but Gobert, like he isn't the big Gobert isn't the big man that you're looking for. Like, yeah, defensively he can get out, but like when you're trying to build up a team, because right now we don't know what we're going to get from Golden State. We don't know if they're going to be the old Golden State that they were once all the pieces come back.
Which they'll
So
have their
right
big
now,
three as long as they stay healthy between Curry, Thompson, and Draymond.
right. So
Which
right now you're trying to build towards the Los Angeles Lakers.
who's their true center? Is
Go
it gonna be Draymond?
Gobert. Look, Gobert gets abused by um, Anthony Davis every time they play. So it's
Yes.
like, do you really want to take him? Like, eh, he's not going to give you an added advantage in that part because he's still going to get abused by Anthony Davis. Um, but as far as Golden State, I don't know. But I know their front office is very smart.
Cora, stop.
So I don't count out that if they need a big, they'll get a big.
And that's what we really need at the same time too. So I'm hoping we really actually push for that trade. But if Dallas truly signs and goes for a big, they're good. That's going to be a whole different story in this. They're going to be a force to reckon with. Like Ghost was saying, it'll be rough for them because there's no experience and there's no true leader. But as
Yeah.
far as Cora, as far as playoff run, if you look at that was gross. Drinking all that water, shakes her lips, and then I get a big old slobber right on the elbow, chat. But if they, how they played and how well they gelled this postseason does give me a little bit of hope because they had no reason even taking that Clippers series as far as they did. Not with
hmm
Porzingis only playing one game.
Yep.
Zero chance of even being in that series.
And that's why I said. I mean, adding a go there to that, you're clogging up the paint.
You really are.
So
Because you
it's
got a
like
guard that wants to get to the paint and get to the line. You got
mm-hmm,
Porzingis who can do anything from anywhere is on the court. And then if you
exactly.
either bring in Giannis or Gobert at the same time, you got a solid piece just sitting down there blocking everything up at all times. Like, yeah, it worked really great for the pick and roll opportunity, but how well is it going to go as regarding isolation and shooting the three ball and this, that, and the other? How well are they going to be able to make that work?
Yeah, that's my point.
The other
Like I said,
biggest. Oh, go ahead. I'll read Ghost comment real quick as you go.
no, I was just gonna say that was my biggest thing is just how it being able to get it to work for you because on paper you don't have the Shaq Kobe connection like you used to anymore. So most of the bigs have to be able to shoot threes, and that clears down low so that the guards can operate. You don't want a big man just sitting down low. Like that's not going to help you win in today's NBA. That's going to cause you to lose a lot of games.
Cora, what are you doing? I was bringing up the fact with Ghost about Denver. I was like, very true, but if you look at their last recent years and their playoff runs, they've built a very good core and have nice experience with how young they are. If they keep their main pieces together, like I was just telling Ghost, and get rid of the money in Millsap and Plumlee,
Mm-hmm.
and get in another piece now that you know that Bol is going to be a factor with how well that he played during the Orlando opening series as well.
Right.
You can afford to dump both of those guys and try to get in another piece at the same time. I don't
Agreed.
keep Millsap because if you look at Millsap, he had the one good game that kept Denver alive within that series. other than that, he's taken up too much money to come in and be too inconsistent night in and night out and be a. I understand he's a veteran with really good experience, but when you're taking up that much money, when it can go to a better quality, consistent, even shooter for them at this point, because they're steady down low, especially Bol gets into the mix with Jokic, and also Michael Porter Jr., who was phenomenal. Um, they're going to be a dangerous team to work with. So if they free up that little bit of money and get in another piece with them, they're going to be a solid team again next year, or
Yeah.
not even next year, in the next almost 30, 40 some days. The other big free agent market name that is in the market is Bradley Beal. This one is it's interesting because if if John Wall comes back this year, we've seen how much headbutting those two have gotten into the last couple of years when they are on the court. They obviously can't play together. And if Wall actually comes back and plays this year, and if Washington doesn't actually get rid of Beal, how is that going to work out? And they're going to end up having to pay Beal at the same time. So is Bradley Beal going to end up leaving? Or does he stay with Washington hiatus? He been in Washington his whole career.
Hmm. It's a good point. I'm not even sure. I'm getting distracted with Lamb talking about Giants. Who cares about the NFC East though?
Well, why are we talking about the Giants?
Exactly.
When did the Giants become into the fold?
Because they're beating up on the
They're
Washington
not even
football
really. It's
team.
a one
Like
score game.
it is. Well, two possession because 13-3. So field goal and a touchdown.
Oh, it is okay. They scored an update on mine. It's 10-3
Yeah.
final. Okay. Wow, that's funny. Okay,
Oh gosh. I'm sorry. He
that's
distracted me.
funny.
Say
I
that
didn't even see
again.
that because I had my phone down, so my notifications weren't going off.
Oh my gosh. A trip.
That's too funny. Other than that, in the NBA, guys, there isn't a whole lot of big news going on right now besides free agency, the NBA draft, and them announcing that the new season is coming up really soon. But the geek comes in and says, I'm still recovering from my 49ers getting beat up against my favorite team, the Packers. They got manhandled, geek. And we all predicted that on Thursday's game, too. With how many injuries they have on that team right now, it is. You might as well sit Garoppolo and Kittle the rest of the year. You're not making the playoffs with how difficult that division is. Not with Arizona and Seattle already on top of you, and then the Rams are still in the mix at the same time too. Like they're no point anymore, unfortunately. There's 0 point. You might as well bench everyone the rest of the year, hang it up, go into next year. What are you laughing at, hiatus?
This man. Who's who he said? This man, by the way, who's free for some nightfall? Some people get out of here, man. Get out of here.
Buffalo is having fun with Seattle, goes. Buffalo's having a field day with Seattle right now, and
They
it's
are.
really interesting, man. Like, I'm
I
surprised.
I did not
Did
think
not see
that.
this coming.
I did not see them being able to just
Not like
handle them
this.
like that.
Not.
That is
I could have
crazy.
maybe saw a close game, but for Buffalo to come out and manhandle them within the first couple of minutes and the score like bam bam, like eye opening.
I mean, shoot. At the same time, the Panthers jumping on top of Kansas City. Like what? Now y'all decide y'all want to play? What is this?
Geek said the same thing. He's like, I think the 49ers just sit everyone and let their backups get XP. I want to know what is legendary about Hiatus's shirt.
You want to know what's legendary about it? Let me show you the bear. The bear is legendary.
Oh my lord. Guys, my dog has been non-stop the entire morning. She's over here growling at me all morning because she's been playing tug with me this entire morning. She doesn't want to let anything go. Like she wants to own podcasts this morning.
Hey, Ghost, I did say this to Melby earlier. Um, if Buffalo makes it, because it looks like they may take this game
Be-
against Seattle.
between
If they
Buffalo and
make it,
Miami is going to be that decision maker for the
yeah,
NFC or the AFC East. Sorry,
if they make it to the playoffs, Josh Norman should not be allowed to play.
we were talking about that. I don't know if you ended up missing that. Josh Norman's now missed. What? It's been 3 weeks since that Tennessee game.
Mm-hmm.
Got rolled out the first 2 weeks with no designated injury, and then out of the blue on Friday, oh, yeah, he's got a hamstring injury. He
Right.
hasn't been practicing. He hasn't shown up or done nothing to that, and of any nature to even hurt a hamstring. So how did this hamstring even occur? Like, if you're gonna sit out this week and sit out the rest of the season, I agree with hiatus. Either cut him, don't give him anything, or if you make the playoffs, he's even allowed to play. Like, I don't care if you're healthy or not. Like, why are you sitting out? You obviously don't have a true injury. And Go says cut him and take his money. I agree. Completely agree. Completely agree. Um, Looking at other news, guys, college football was a little wild yesterday. Um, Couple of big games. I know Geek's gonna want to hear about this, even though I already know he stayed tuned into it. But in my picks, guys, I thought Boise State was gonna put in a lot better fight that they did against BYU, but unfortunately, okay, I will hear in a second, Geek. BYU manhandled them, guys. It wasn't even a contest. Probably game It's probably second game of the week was the NC State Miami game. NC State almost ended up pulling out the upset on them, and Miami barely won that game, 44-41. They looked very suspect in that game. Um, Gonna be kind of shaky coming up here. And exactly, Geek. BYU's looking very solid. We haven't seen BYU be a solid team in a minute. This next game, I know hurts CB. CB was talking about it last night in his chat too when they found out about it. Double overtime game, guys. Notre Dame pulled it off with a Trevor Lawrence-less Clemson team. I called it. I knew it was going to be a good game, but there was no way that a team was going to be able to single-handedly bring Clemson home to beat Notre Dame in this game. And it was proven to do that so when it came to this game. Um, I hope the AP polls take into the effect that Trevor Lawrence wasn't in this game, and Clemson doesn't deserve to be knocked out of the top four, in my opinion. As long as they take a look at that factor, and then take a look at how well and hard fought this game was, honestly, I think Notre Dame's not going to take the number one spot, obviously. It's not going to happen. They won't hop over everybody else. But as far as. I don't even know, guys. It's going to be rough. But I think Clemson drops to a 3. Notre Dame goes to a. Man, that's hard. I don't even know what to. That's difficult, guys. Because Ohio State's played really good, and they won their game. Georgia just lost, so obviously they won't be in the mix. So does number 2 team obviously is going to move up into the number 1 spot. I don't think Ohio State moves up and above them. So Ohio State 2, Notre Dame 3. So that means Clemson and Notre Dame almost swap. I guess that would be fair. And then Florida possibly moves up to the number 5 spot with the win over Georgia, unless Cincinnati keeps it. But I don't think Cincinnati moves into the 5 spot. I really don't. And then, as predicted in the Michigan Indiana game, I did pick Indiana in that game. Michigan in the beginning of the year, I thought didn't even deserve to be ranked as high as they did. I don't even think they should have been ranked to be, in my opinion, at all. And they're definitely dropping out of the top 25 this week. Yeah, Georgia's definitely out of the top 5 as well. I'm thinking the same thing, Geek. I'm putting Clemson at the 4 spot. Who's currently in the number 2 spot because they didn't play this past week? Who is currently at the number 2 spot? Oh, it is Alabama. That's right. I don't like the. They never used to have bye weeks. I don't like this bye week situation anymore. I don't like it at all. What happened to just playing the 12-13 games straight out and going into bowl season? I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. Not a fan of it at all. Looking at everything else, though, Hiatus, have you seen any other recent news that you want to bring into anything, man, regarding anything?
Um, the only thing I know, we talked about this a while ago, but it done popped up again about this whole Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones fight.
It keeps. This is like the 4th time in the last couple of months this has done popped
It
up.
keeps
And the
popping
first time
up.
it popped up, Roy Jones basically wanted to back out of it because he's like, no, it'd basically be suicide. Then why did you even agree to the fight to begin with?
See, and now I don't know if I didn't see them mention a date, but they got a whole docu series that they're doing with Tyson and Jones right now.
Interesting.
So obviously, it's gonna happen eventually. The fight is
It
gonna
has
happen.
to. They've been talking about this for way too long now. This has been going
Yep.
on since we've been seeing the Mike Tyson preview videos of him getting back into shape.
Right. I agree.
And then they're talking about Manny Pacquiao coming back. If Manny Pacquiao comes back at the same time too, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to see, but I need that fight to happen. I need them to get that aggression out.
He needs to commit 110%, geek. That dude looks like he's got so much on his mind. Like I think he's more built now than what he was when he came into the boxing situation when he was a 20-year-old.
Agreed.
Like, dude is a monster right now. For him to be 53 years old, to be that big, and to be able to move that fast is not okay. Like, someone's asking to get hurt. They're going to be a KO. I think he's coming in with his mindset and something to prove. I completely agree as well. Because if you look
Mm.
at how everything broke down at the end of his career, and then with him leaving boxing, going into the marijuana industry, basically turning around his life and investing into the marijuana industry, and in my opinion, has probably cleansed that dude's mind so much to where he's thinking straight now and not going through everything in his head and all the emotions. And he's like, man, what did I waste in the amount of time that I was so great that I could have been greater?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, the thing about it is that he'll never get that Lennox Lewis fight back,
Oh,
and that was a fight that he definitely could have won. Same thing with Evander Holyfield. They'll never get that fight back, and they both had their mental breaks around the time that it was time for them to actually to fight them. So
Regi's
uh,
comment.
yeah, so it was like you had Evander Holyfield going through this whole thing of holy intervention where he's trying to predict when he's gonna knock somebody out. Um, so that looked crazy. And then you had Mike Tyson. He was going through his mental stuff and financial issues. So he wasn't the Mike that we knew. So that was two W's that Lennox Lewis got. That if they were in their prime, I don't see him getting both of
He
those
wasn't
W's.
winning either one of those fights.
Yep.
Neither one.
Yep.
Geek's hilarious though. He's like, as long as all parties leave the ring with their ears intact, he's gonna be one heck of a one-sided fight.
He don't do that no more. He don't bite ears.
Twice in the same match. Couldn't
Yeah, this
believe
is
it.
true.
Me and my
Yeah.
dad watched that fight live, and we were recording it. Like, oh man, I remember watching that fight in our living room. I was so young, but I remember watching that fight. I remember Tyson just coming over, giving him the little nudge real quick, and then
Yep. Listen. So I have a crazy story about the whole Mike Tyson Holyfield fight. So my dad, we used to have like the big satellite dish in the backyard.
yeah.
So when fights would come on, his friends or coworkers would come over and watch the fight. And one of his coworkers, which was a friend of the family, was a diehard Mike Tyson fan. And so when Mike Tyson bit him the first time, this man was defending Mike Tyson so heavy. He's like, Evander keeps headbutting him. What do you expect him to do? If I was in the ring, I would do the same thing. And then when he bit him the second time, we all just looked at him. We was like, what's the excuse now?
When he did it the second time, I was like, why is this guy even trying again? Like, you know what's gonna happen. Like, what is even going through your mind right now?
Yo, shout out to Mills Lane, man, because I think that probably was one of the craziest fights he had ever seen in his lifetime.
I agree. Completely agree.
And Mills Lane never had a filter, so I'm pretty sure he was like, Mike, what the hell are you doing?
What the hell? Did he just really bite his ear?
Right? Oh man. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what I was just telling Hiatus. I watched that fight live on TV with my dad. I remember sitting in our
Yep.
living room with the VHS
Mhm.
inside recording at the same time. Like, I
Off of that
remember the
paper.
exact entertainment stand we had. Like, picture perfect. Like, I remember that moment so visually. It's stupid.
Bro, we had the big box TV, the big screen TV with the surround sound on the side, bro. Like it was live in effect, man. We heard every punch.
Anything else we want to add into chat? Anything else that chat wants to maybe even ask us? Or anything that we might have missed that you want us to cover real quick, guys? Hiatus, you have anything else, man?
Nah, that was it for me, man. I think we covered everything I can think of right now.
Well, and sorry for us trying to squeeze everything in so fast too before the NFL started. We wanted to make sure you guys had all the latest injury updates with everyone coming in this morning, especially with the late notices of McCaffrey being activated. We still don't know 100% of Michael Thomas is going to be available tonight. They say he's going to be a go, but it's going to depend on his pregame workout. So there's been a lot of mixed factors. Gardner Minshew's not playing today with his torn ligaments in his thumb. Golden Tate ended up getting benched because of his outburst. We'll have to look into this week to see if he's going to end up being traded or not because of his. He hasn't really had a good track record ever since he's gotten to the Giants. So we'll have to look into that and to see if he's going to be traded to go into this week. Looking at a couple of the games really fast too. Falcons are manhandling the Broncos right now, 20-3 going into halftime. Bills are up 24-10 with a minute left in that half. Seattle just scored a field goal in this one. Ravens and Colts are tied up at 7-7. Panthers are still up on Kansas City, currently driving in Kansas City territory. They're up 14 to 13. Kansas City did manage to come back into this one and bring it a close game. Other games are currently at halftime. Vikings are doing their thing against Detroit, 20-10. The Giants are all over Washington, 20-3 right now. Still 2 minutes left to go in that half. Um, Not looking good for Washington in this game. They're getting destroyed. And then a really
And
good game between Jacksonville and Houston with no Gardner Minshew. That backup Luton. I don't even know who this Luton dude is, but he's completed 50% of his passes so far for 100 yards and a touchdown. So he's looking pretty decent. So I have to give him it.
facts.
You don't see him being around coming this next year. I agree, Geek. Completely agree. Um, Before we wrap anything else, chat, and look into who we're going to raid, is there anything you guys want to ask us, Geek? Is there any college news or anything like that I missed up on, or any other games that was a highlight game that I should cover real quick? Chad, is there anything else that we might have missed? MLB, there's currently not anything going on. NHL is the same reasoning. They're both in their actual full length off seasons, unlike the NBA. um, Other than that, we pretty much covered everything else, guys. There was a lot of news that came out this week regarding everything, around everything. Geek says when athletes get to get too full of themselves and become toxic, I don't care how talented they think they are. It always ends up them disappearing as a pro athlete. That's true. Nobody ever looks back at that, honestly. They always they always look at him and be like, well, his stats matter than this, and his stats matter than that, and this is what he did on the field slash court, that and the other. But they don't look at the toxicity of everything. Like look at Isaiah Thomas for a factor. Look at how many people praise Isaiah Thomas for being possibly one of the greatest point guards ever. But if you look at Isaiah Thomas, he was probably one of the most toxic dudes in the NBA at that point.
He was.
Like one of the most toxic dudes in the NBA at that point. But yet he was so liked. I couldn't stand I still can't stand Isaiah Thomas. I've never been an Isaiah Thomas fan. What's the first thing you think of when I say Terrell Owens?
Miami. Miami. Him headbutting his wife and not being able to make that team because I think that had T.O. made well no that wasn't T.O. I'm thinking of Chad. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
not T.O. I'm thinking of Chad. T.O. The first thing I think about when I hear T.O. is that's my quarterback. Like I don't know this guy. Like the thing about it is there are wide receivers that came into the league that we thought were just going to be that guy, and they weren't. And T.O. was actually one of those. Like after seeing what he was able to do on a team that technically wasn't going anywhere, and then how he ended up like at the end of his career, it was sad.
It was crazy when he went to Philly how he came back from a broken leg within like 8 weeks and went completely off during that Super Bowl though. Like
Right.
I wasn't expecting that to come out of him. Like I
Yeah,
knew
but
he
at
was
the
going to
same
be a factor, but for him to come back off of a complete broken leg and go for like 130 plus yards, if I remember right, like he tore us up.
and that was another thing too. Like he was, according to doctors, he wasn't supposed to play. This man comes out and says that he received divine healing and that he was okay to go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you understand? Like, your leg is broke, bro. Like, you received divine healing and you're about to go and play football contact as a wide receiver that has to jump in the air with the opportunity for it to be even worse. Like,
Uh-huh.
I like that was one of those times
As
that
bad
it
as
just
it
made
says
no
to,
sense.
and as bad as it is to say, I was waiting for that moment for him to take the hit and for hit his leg to just into two ways. Like
Yep.
he had no business being on that field within that limited
Yep.
amount of time. Zero. Ghost says, "Why is Chad Ochocinco not playing no more?" Well, the big part of it was his ego.
But and that's why I get them because Tio and Chad both had these egos about
Yes,
them, and
they
a
did.
lot of time it was hard to differentiate between the two of them. But if Chad would have gotten his opportunity to run with in Miami, what is the quarterback? He's now doing good. You know what I'm talking about.
Color?
No, he was supposed to
Tannehill?
be there. Tannenhill. If he would have gotten a chance to run with Tannehill, Tannehill's career would have been completely different
Oh yeah.
because that
He
is
could have
a
just thrown the ball up and not even
premium
had to
wide
worry
receiver.
about getting all those sacks.
Exactly, exactly. So when I watched that, because they were doing the HBO behind the scenes, when I watched them let Chad Okocinco go, and I'm like, bro, are you serious? Like you're starting a quarterback that you don't know his potential. You have a veteran wide receiver, and you're picking these bums over him over an incident that had nothing to do with what's going on right now. And this is before they were even with the whole domestic violence.
Yeah,
This
that's
was
before they
before
even
all
looked
of
into
that,
anything and anything
right?
did anything.
And it was even came
Because he
out
ended
that
up
it was
signing with the Patriots after that
right. It
and
didn't
didn't
end
stay
up
very
coming
long.
out that it wasn't even as serious as they thought it was. It wasn't even that crazy. But you had a chance to sign someone and really maximize that pickup. Now you got to watch him play really well on another team.
Yep. That's facts. That's funny. Looking into everything, guys. Who we gonna go raid today, guys? We had a good podcast today. Again, sorry for having the delay on podcast, guys. Um, our fault completely. We're gonna try to get everything back into a rhythm for this coming week. It's gonna be hard Tuesday with Beyond Light dropping. So be tuned in for all three of our channels in Discord.
Facts,
Make sure you're
facts.
following everybody. Make sure you're tuned in, all three of us, with Beyond Light dropping on Tuesday, guys. There's not 100% if we're gonna have a podcast on Tuesday or not. We may have to bump it a couple of days, and maybe mesh a podcast into one whole podcast on like a Saturday or something like that because of how busy everyone's gonna be with grinding new content. People are off of work for this to grind new content and to get everything done at the same time too. So I'm not 100% sure if we're gonna have a podcast on Tuesday. So I will forewarn you guys about that because I myself was planning a 24-hour stream on Tuesday for Beyond Light. So I know a lot of other people are. I know Hiatus normally helps out JJ when new content comes out and everything drops out. So I know he's going to be busy at the same time too. I'm not sure what Lamb's plans are when new content comes out, but I already know for a fact he's going to be on too. So with everyone and the timing of everything, it's going to be interesting. But just make sure you tune in, all three of us. Make sure you keep updated, and we'll make sure to keep you guys updated at the same time too. Who are we gonna go rate, guys? Who are we rating today? Who do we have on? Who's we got on? And Maze is playing Grand Theft Auto. We got Bionic Bronc doing some Niobe helps on Destiny 2. Still early, guys. Not a whole lot of people are streaming yet. So if you
Hmm.
guys have other people that I'm not currently following at the same time, please let me know, and we'll look to see who we're gonna go raid. But who we raiding, chat? Hey, does she see anybody on?
I am looking now.
Geek, you have anybody on you want
So,
us to raid?
um,
Ghost says
so
seasonal
right now,
slaps. Who you
yeah,
got?
I got I know Bronx on,
Ooh,
and
Chibs. We never seen Chibs. We did just raid Bronk recently on one of my other streams.
okay, and I was
Like
gonna say
we
Delta's
literally
on.
just raided Bronk. I want to say after yesterday's stream actually.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was gonna say Delta was on as well.
Delta Web's on, Seasonal Slaps, and Chibs. I want to say we spent. It was a while ago, but we have seen Slaps before. We've never seen Chibs before, and we've never seen Delta, guys. So Chibs or Delta, who are we gonna go see, guys? I kind of like Chibs. I like Chibs. Chibs is pretty dope. I've heard a lot of positive things. I've heard a lot of positive things about both of them actually. So maybe we do one this week, one the next week, and we'll have to keep in mind on who we don't do. But
Okay.
we'll go. All right. Go says Chibs this week too. Cool. All right, so we'll go see Chibs, guys. We'll go raid Chibs. We'll invalid username. Oh, I put an actual I. Let's not go raid the wrong person again this time like we did last time, chat. I remember when we went to go raid Sunshine and it didn't go through.
Right.
That's too funny. But we're going to go raid Chips, guys. Make sure to throw in some emotes. Thank you again for hopping in the podcast. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Thank you for keeping up to date with us, too, at the same time, too. And again, sorry for the miscommunication regarding everything. But we'll make sure we keep you guys up to date regarding Tuesday's podcast and whether or not we're going to be moving that or not. But other than that,
Facts.
thank you guys for tuning in. We had an amazing podcast today with Hiatus. Sorry again that Liam couldn't be here, guys. He was busy this morning. But other than that, stay tuned. We'll keep you guys informed and have a good day, guys. We're going to go raid Chips.